Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we simmed a little bit more of the season, and as you can see we have a 27-26 6-3 record, and we're literally just outside of a playoff spot. As you can see in our division, the Devils have that last playoff spot at 64 points, which is going to be probably pretty tough to get them because they do have a way better goaltender than us. And then also the Toronto Maple Leafs are literally just above us. They're like only 2 points above us in that last wild card spot, so we might be able to just barely make the playoffs. If we don't, on the other hand, it's not the end of the world because this team's still kind of like learning the ropes to an extent, and it's just another year of like kind of learning and development. So we do have two comments I'd like to go over first before we actually get into the trade deadline. The first one being from HucksFan88. He says, "I think you should move away Heatley since he's been very disappointing, but you could still probably get good value, even though I didn't really see anything interesting on the block. Also, I agree that you should definitely try and get players that don't take as many penalty minutes in the off season." So that makes sense. I also actually asked him, do you think we should go into rebuild or we should try and push for that last playoff spot? He says, "I think the smartest thing would be to do would just to let the team play and see what happens. If the team makes the playoffs, that would be great, but if not, it's not a big deal if they miss," which is basically what I was just saying. I also said, so maybe just try and upgrade the backup goaltender a bit at the deadline, I guess. And he says, "I think you could definitely use a better goalie. I would just say not to pay too much," which makes sense as well because we don't want to give up too much, and then this team just makes like maybe our first round appearance and that's it, or misses the playoff. And then our next comment is from Brian Bogiano, I think is how you pronounce your last name. If not, I apologize for that, but he says, "I think it'd be the best bet to try and bring in prospects as opposed to draft picks. Ovechkin and Crosby might be long shots, but with Heatley, Savard, and Leach, you could bring in some big returns that don't figure into your team long term," which makes sense. So yeah, like guys like Heatley, Savard, and Leach and stuff like that, we could probably move away in the off season from, and we could probably get some good prospects back for them, especially Heatley and Savard because they are signed for, I think, for some decent long contracts. Like I think, yeah, we could easily trade away Heatley and Savard in the offseason because both of them have multiple year contracts. While Brian Leach's contract is up this offseason, he might retire, he might not. If he doesn't retire and we bring him back, we could always just trade him away at the deadline next season if the team is playing bad. So Brian Leach is one of these guys that could be on the move next season as well. So yeah, those are the comments I like to go over. Let's get into this trade deadline because we are going to be looking for a new starting goaltender, and then I think what I'll probably do is send down Jan Lasik to the AHL. And then like he probably won't get claimed, and he'll just be a depth goaltender behind like Brian Elliott and Kluchek. So let's get into this, and we're gonna go in as a conservative buyer. Yeah, just conservative buyer. I already listed a couple goaltenders that I was looking at getting, which was Martin Biron from the Buffalo Sabres. He's like an 84. Steve Shields and Martin Prusek as well as on the block. Shields is in San Jose and he's in the AHL as like an 82, I think it was. And then Prusek's in the AHL in Toronto as an 83. So those three goaltenders, we should be able to get at least one of them to help us out with a playoff run. And we won't have to give up too much to get them either. So let's go propose trade and just see what... actually, I should go to the trade finder. I don't know if I want Martin Biron because I feel like if you have too good of an overall of a goaltender at the in the playoffs, that they won't simulate that well. So as you can see... Wait, did they already trade him? Where the heck did he go? No way, did they actually just trade him already? Like, literally, I simmed today and they might have already traded him away. Wow, that sucks. Okay, let's look at Steve Shields then and stuff like that. Unless maybe it's not putting him on there, or is it a glitch? Because literally, I just saw him, like, right before I started recording this. Yeah, they must have traded him away. Wow, okay, we need to make a trade quick, because or else the eyes are going to take those goaltenders and I'm not going to get them, so... I think I want either Shields or Prusek. Let's take a look at San Jose. Do they still have Shields on the block? Yep, there's Shields. As you can see, they have three good goaltenders, so there's really no point on them keeping Shields. Shields' numbers when he was in the NHL, 2.83 with a 904. What about Prusek, out of curiosity? Marty Prusek had a 256, but he was playing with a good team in Ottawa and in Toronto. You know what, I'm going to try and trade for Prusek. See if he can help us out here. And we only have to give up a 4th and a 7th, so it's literally a pretty good pickup. So Welcome to the team, Martin Prusek. You're going to be hopefully helping us get to a playoff spot and beyond. So there's one trade made, and I don't know if we're going to really make anything else in terms of trades, because I don't really want to give up too much, obviously, because or else this team's going to just like not have a good like prospect pool and stuff like that, and we want to build that up before we become like a really competitive team. So I don't think we're going to be making any more trades unless there's somebody intriguing out here, which I don't think there is. Yeah, I don't really think we're going to make any more trades. And I kind of just want to get the rest of the season simulated to an extent. Like Andy McDonald would be a really good pickup, but we might be able to get him in the offseason if we want to be a competitive team next season. So yeah, I'm not going to make any more trades. I think that one is going to be our only one is bringing in Prusek, and then we'll send down Lassick to the AHL. Let's just go stop simulation. Rob Zamaner on waivers. I don't think I need to claim any guys for any reason. Okay, so let's go to our roster moves. But I think Martin Prusek could help us out, because if he's played good with some other teams, then he might play good with us. Actually, Prusek's already up here. Okay, good. It actually already made that roster move that I exactly wanted. Perfect. So now I need to adjust our lineup. I don't know if it yeah, it already changed around our lines again. God damn it. I hate when the game does that sometimes, but we got to readjust our lineup. I think we had Schaefer on the 4th line, and it was something like that. Yeah, I think it was something like this. And then Denny Hamel was not in the lineup. Or was he in the lineup? No, he wasn't. It was Somic. I got to make sure I get the lines back to the way they were, right? Yeah, I think these were the depth guys. And then defensively, we were running like something like this, I think. Yeah, I think it was something like that. Maybe not, actually. I don't remember if I had Sfela or Witt up there. We'll just do it something like that. Okay, we are good to go, I think. And in AHL, just make sure that's all set. Oh, they already put Lassick in instead. I don't want Lassick playing, because I would like Brian Elliott to get the majority of starts, so. And we'll just adjust this to get our top prospects in the right spots. I hate when the game just auto-adjusts the lines, because I had them set a certain way, and now they're all screwed around. Now we'll just leave the rest like that. Yeah, that should be good. And then defensively, we'll go like that, and that is good as well. Okay, perfect. We are good to sim the rest of the season now. Hopefully Martin Prusek could help this team out and get into that last playoff spot and beat out his old team, because I just realized he was a Maple Leaf who was in that last wildcard spot. So let's get the rest of the season done with. This might be a bit of a shorter episode if we miss the playoffs, or if we actually make the playoffs. We'll see. So let's take it a little bit slow, just to make sure this team actually makes it if we can. If we don't make it, like I said, it's not the end of the world. So let's go to the 8th of March. See how this team simulates. We lose there. We beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. We beat Tampa Bay. We beat the Rangers, and then we suffer 2 losses in a row. So we're now 30-28, 6-4. How is the standings looking? We are in that last wildcard spot now with 70 points. The Leafs are 3 points back of us, and that is good news. So with that last wildcard spot, we might be one of those teams that just barely make it in, get that last wildcard spot, because as long as the Toronto Maple Leafs just don't win games, we might be okay. And we want to make sure this team also wins games. So let's go to the 17th now. Get a few more games under our belt. There's a loss, there's a loss, there's a win, there's a tie, and a win. Okay, so we got 2 straight losses, which was not good, but then we got 3 straight games with at least a point, so I'll take that. That'll definitely help us in the standings a little bit. We are still in that wildcard spot with 75 points in 73 games. And in Toronto is way out of a playoff spot now. The United are catching up to us. I don't like that. Europe has just came out of nowhere. They have 71 points now. They're only 4 points back with 1 game in hand. Yikes. And then also we got to watch out for the Hurricanes, who are coming out of nowhere as well. Okay, let's go another few games. Hopefully Europe and Carolina don't catch us. Let's go 1 week. See if we can win these 3 games. Come on, boys. There's a tie, there's a win, and a loss. Okay, so that's 3 points out of a possible 6, I think. And that still has us in the last wildcard spot with 78 points. We are 4 points up on the Canes, but with a game more played. And then also we have 3 more points than the United with 1 game played more. Jeez, those teams are like randomly coming out of nowhere. Like, I feel like we're going to get RKO'd or something. Let's go 2 more games just to play it a little bit safe. Come on, boys. We need wins. There's a win and a loss. I don't like how streaky this team is. 80 points. We're 4 points up on the Canes now with the same amount of games. That's huge. And with the same, or actually 1 more game still played than United, but we're only 4 points above them. So this is going to come down right till like the last few games probably. We need the Canes to lose some games if possible. Same with the United. There's a win over Ottawa. That is a huge win. That has us still in the wildcard spot. 82 points now. And we have the exact same amount of games played as the United and the Hurricanes, but we are way above them. That is a huge win. We might be close to clinching our first ever playoff series. And there's a OT loss to Ottawa, which is not good because OT losses consider no points, I'm pretty sure. Actually, maybe it did give us a point. I don't even know. 83 points. That has us 3 points above. Yeah, I think we're going to clinch soon. As long as the other teams lose games. Come on, boys. We need wins. So let's get this win over Washington, please. And we lose again. But we did clinch a playoff spot. We are actually making the playoffs for the first time in franchise history, technically, we'll say. Because I think the Atlanta Thrashers in real life only made the playoffs one time, and it was in 2007 or 2008. I'm not 100% sure with that. But anyways, we did make the playoffs for the first time. That is huge. The addition of Martin Prusek hopefully helped us. And we lose our last game of the season as well. So we literally just barely made the playoffs by 2 points, it looks like, over the Canes, and 1 point. Yeah, literally by 1 point over the United. Oh, that was a close one, but we actually made the playoffs. I'm really proud of this team for actually doing so, because literally this team is just comprised of a couple young guys we drafted and a bunch of free agent signings. So let's take a look at our player stats and the team stats for the season, and then we'll take a look at who we're going up against in round 1 in our first ever playoff series. So Mark Savard, 73 points is really nice, but a minus 12 is a little bit bad. I mean, he is getting better than he was in the last 2 seasons. Like, his plus minus has not been really that great. We aren't a great defensive team, so it kind of makes sense, though. Malkin had 68 points. That's pretty solid for a second season from him. 118 points on his career now. He also has a lot of penalty minutes, which is kind of funny. Bergeron, 63 points. That's also pretty good from him. He's going to want a big contract this offseason, which makes sense. And then Kuznetsov had 33 points. I'm liking Kuznetsov's play. Like, he's not out there for a lot of goals against, and then he's also passing the puck really well. Like, he shoots the puck a decent amount of times, but he doesn't score on his shooting percentages, so, interesting. And then left wing wise, Kovalchuk only had 57 points this year, so that's a very bad season for Ilya Kovalchuk. 27 goals, which is a new career best, but 57 points as opposed to his first season, which he had 75 points. I don't know if it's just because of the quality of our line mates are getting worse or what, but his point production is going down. And then Danny Heatley, only 50 points this year. He went up to 13 goals, but yeah, Heatley, a very concerning player, minus 28 this season as well. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to keep around Heatley. Like, even if we do go far in the playoffs this year, maybe Heatley's still a trade bait option for us. Maltby had 40 points, which is pretty solid. Marcel Hossa 24, Avery 20 points, Salmick 19, Schaefer 9, and Hamel 1 goal. And then Aaron Asham, our only right winger, had 41 points this season. Defensively, Brian Leach helped us out offensively with 42 points. Robert Schwela 28, Jim Fahey 18, Witt 17, Montador 15, Meze 13, and nothing for Thomas Malik. As for our goaltending, Markkanen was actually pretty good. He actually picked it up near the end of the season. Yeah, he picked it up a lot near the end of the season with a 920 save percentage and a 2.57, while Martin Prusek only played with us this season with an 8-8-1 record and 914 save percentage and a 2.65, so he's actually pretty solid as well. And that is that. Okay, let's take a look at the entire league as well, just because I'm kind of curious on who finished where. So the most points this year by a forward was Peter Forsberg with 109 points. Jeez. And then Pavel Bure had 103 and Patrick Marleau had 100. Most goals this season was Patrick Marleau with 46 goals. Interesting. Best plus minus this season was Joe Thornton with a plus 46. Him and Sergei Samsonov, as well as our former player and Ales Kolik is up there. Most penalty minutes by a forward was Brendan Morrow with 278. Interesting. And then we'll go by defenseman. The best defenseman for points this year was Al McInnes in Dallas, which is kind of weird, with 61 points. Well, I didn't take a look at all the trades that happened at the deadline. God damn it, I just realized. I apologize for that, guys. I meant to do that. Oh well. Dan Boyle, 60 points. Zubov, 59 points. So Zubov and McInnes maybe playing on the same pairing, potentially. Huh. Interesting. Best goaltender this year for wins is Olaf Kolzig and Nikolai Hebibulin. Best shutouts was Marty Turco and Dan Kluche, both with 8 shutouts. The best save percentage by a starter was Nikolai Hebibulin with a 928. And best goals against average by a starting goaltender was also Hebibulin with a 2.17. So Hebibulin's more than likely going to be winning the Vezina this season. And there was a goalie goal from Ron Tugnutt. Interesting. It's kind of cool. Okay, and rookie points. The best rookie this year obviously going to Sidney Crosby, who was the first overall pick. 61 points for him in Calgary. And then Alex Castles, 49 points. Isaac Pickard, 48. And Edward Wine, 46. Anze Kopitar finished there with 41 points, which is pretty solid. And that is that. Okay, let's take a look at the standings. See how we did in terms of our goals for and all that. So, entire league-wise, we finished probably just barely in the playoff spot, right? Yeah, we finished in 17th in the NHL when we made the playoffs with just above a 50% winning percentage. Goals for per game, we scored 223 for 2.72 per game, which is not great. It's near the bottom of the NHL. We allowed actually more than we scored, which is not good, but whatever. We made the playoffs. And 2.82, we actually weren't bad defensively. We were kind of around the middle, so that's actually not that bad. Power play percentage wise, our power play was one of the best in the NHL, so that's actually pretty good. That's probably what helped us get into a playoff spot. And then our penalty kill as well was not too bad. Okay, so our special teams helped us get into the postseason this year, so I kind of like that. Hopefully this team could maybe somehow pull off a lot of upsets in the playoffs. Let's take a look at who we're going up against in the first round of our first ever playoff series. And it's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning. Goddamn, we have to face Nikolai Hebibulin, who literally just won probably the Vezina this season. They went 52-21, 7-2. This is going to be a one-sided matchup. Let's take a look at actually a comparison between us and them before we actually take a look at their roster. So, Tampa Bay is in our division. Or no, they're in the other division. Yeah, they're in the other division. Okay, so they had 264 goals for, which is 3.22 per game. As opposed to us, they scored a lot more goals than us, which is not a surprise. They had a way better goaltending than us as well. Power play wise, they had a worse power play than us, so our special teams outperformed Tampa somehow. Okay. And in penalty kill, they were 83.1, and we were 83.6. So they were better in terms of goals for and goals against in like regular strength, but in terms of power play and penalty kill, we played better than they did, which is kind of a surprise. Okay, let's take a look at their roster, and then we'll show you guys the playoff tree, and then I think that will be it for this episode. So, who is on the Tampa Bay Lightning for the 05-06 season? It's going to be Jochen Hecht on the top line, alongside Valkov Prospal and Martin St. Louis. So that's a pretty good top line. Jochen Hecht coming off a 57-point season. Valkov Prospal coming off a 69-point season, which is very nice. And Martin St. Louis coming off a 72-point season. Yikes. As for their second line, they have Alexander McGinley. Interesting, who came over from Toronto this season at the trade deadline. 13 points in 19 games. They also have Brad Richards, who's a pretty good player. 72 points from him. And Eric Dezay. That's an interesting one as well, because Eric Dezay was not that bad of a player. 54 points this year. Coming over from Pittsburgh in the offseason. Third line, they got Jamie Langenbrunner, who gives me a little bit of playoff PTSD because of him scoring goals against my Sens in the playoffs. So there's Jamie Langenbrunner's stats. They also have Vincent Lecavalier as their third line center. Jeez, this team is really center heavy. Holy crap. Like, you're running Lecavalier, Richards, and Prospal as your centers, but why aren't you playing Lecavalier on the top unit? He had 49 points this year. His production's gone down a lot because he's probably getting, yeah, he's getting way less ice time than he used to. Like, Cavalier might demand a trade, you never know. JP Duan, also another solid piece on this team. And in fourth line, they got Donald Adet, Trevor Letowski, who was with us last season. Interesting. Screw you, Trevor. Hopefully you don't score on us. And then Tony Amonte. That's interesting. Tony Amonte being in his second season with the Tampa Bay Lightning. As for their defense, they got Brian McCabe and Dan Boyle, so pretty good 1-2 punch. Second pairing, they got Pavel Kabina and Mike Rathje. And in top six pairing wise, they got Nolan Pratt still and Matthias Johansson, which is a forward playing defense. Kind of interesting. Don't know why they're doing that. And then goaltending wise, we know they have Nikolai Hebby-Bulin, who's had some insane numbers over the course of this franchise mode. Like, he's got a .922 career save percentage and 2.37 goals against. And then in the playoff wise, he's not been great, but he's still been pretty solid. And then their backup is a 63 overall goaltender in Dennis Seed, who had a pretty good record as well and pretty good goals against and stuff like that. But that's probably because this team is really good defensively. And then depth-wise, they got Tom Fitzgerald, Michael Groshek, and Dick Turnstrom's out with an injury. So that's probably why they're running with Johansson on defense. So hopefully Turnstrom's not back for quite a long time. Let's actually take a look at that injury report just because I'm kind of curious on how long it's going to take before Turnstrom is back. Because if he's not back this series, we might have a chance because that offensive guy playing defense, he's not back till the 21st. So he might actually be back this series, I think. Maybe not. No, I don't know if he will. Let's take a look quickly at that playoff tree, and then that'll be it for this episode. So, in the East, we got New Jersey and New York. You got the Caps and the Panthers. You got the Sens and Bruins, and then us in Tampa Bay. And then in terms of the West, you got Minnesota and Detroit, Dallas and San Jose, Vancouver and LA, and Colorado and St. Louis. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Atlanta Thrashers franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the first round of the playoffs, where we take on the Tampa Bay Lightning and hope to pull off a pretty big upset. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.